Hello everyone, let's draw hands together today. So what I first used was Pinterest. This is a great app to find good reference photos for different angles of hands, anything, even eyes, faces. So here's a video of me going through Pinterest to find some interesting hand references that I can use to practice to draw. So first I went for a flat backhand one with the fingers spread because it's one of the easiest poses to draw hands in my opinion. And sadly my video recording crashed, so here's me selecting some of them that I will use. So I wanted to go for that one because it's particularly interesting because they kept on bending, even pointing with the little L, just to get a variety of different hand poses so they're not similar, and well, they're not similar like identical but different, so it's easier for me to practice on, like clutching fist, pointing, backhand, front hand. So it really gives me the time to actually perfect drawing hands. And maybe I should have used maybe two hands grasping each other instead of just one, which could have particularly made an interesting reference to use. So I kept on scrolling. These are all the images of hands you can use to draw. I didn't use that one because I didn't. Here's the reference photos that I did choose for today to practice. See all the different ranges on them. Now we have the visual breakdown. Hands are made out of round squares, circles and ovals, and use lines to direction of fingers. Because fingers and hands are pretty hard to draw because they move in different angles and ways. It isn't just like drawing eye, which is just bang, there you go, but it has all different details that you have to watch out for that can move differently. So I like to use this guideline of circles, squares and ovals. So here's the breakdown of the first one I did to show you. So the squares always have to be rounded because it's never, the human body, it's never sharp, it's always rounded enough because the human body is never harsh. There's never any cut bone because we're not like just made out of bones, we're made of flesh. So it's round, it's got muscles, it's got fat, so that's why it's round. And see, for the joints and knuckles, I use the rounded shape because when you're drawing, you always have this kind of round bump of it, but very slightly to see. If you see in the finger where the knuckle is, you kind of see that. And I use the oval tips. Sometimes I use the oval and circles for the joint, sometimes in different movements of the hand. And here's me visually breaking it down for everything. For like the fist, we see that we can't really use the square much because it's clamped in together and we're mostly seeing the angle of the fingers, but I used a lot of oval and circle shapes in this one to really emphasize it. Then for the second one, of the kind of pointed gun finger one, is that you can see the palm of the hand, the circles, the squares more easily, but a little bit of ovals for the fingers. And then we see the ones to point. That one, because it's when it's facing you and it's not clutching, you can see the squares more easily compared to like the fists. And this is just going through them, seeing the visual breakdowns of everything, so it's more clearly for you to draw. Because with art, it's always construction and work. It's never the same. And here's the comparison. Here's the breakdown and the non-breakdown of everything. So we've got the front hand and we've got the fist, just to clearly show you. And then we have the pointed fingers as well. Kind of seeing how you yourself can visually break it down before starting and drawing. Because everything is made up of shapes. Every art piece, every sketch is structure, shapes. You never just simply draw it. The first in your head, you have to visually look and see what the shapes are made out of. Or even before, when you sketch on for beginners. So here's me drawing. Now that I'm finished with my final study of the sketches of the hand studies, I wanted to put the final study on the right side and the breakdown of shapes on the left, so you can visually compare it to it, because I think before I draw, I like to break it down shapes either visually by going on my iPad, comparing it more and using that as a reference before obviously rendering it, and then getting the real life image and then rendering it. I did this because it helps me draw better and more accurately, and I hope it did for you too. And bye everyone, and thanks for drawing hands together.